Hello from Finland. Just a small video about a subframe for sidecar mounting to my BMW Airhead /6. Here is the bike, and typically you would mount a sidecar on 3 or 4 points, usually 4. You have here one in the front, one in the back. These will take your forward forces, they will actually pull the sidecar forwards, and then you have 2 points on the top which are your lateral forces. The easiest thing, and that's very nice in this bike, it has already a strengthening here just below the steering, a cross member which again has a T-piece that goes in length back under the tank. This is a very strong place, close to your steering bearings. This was easy to mount, very simple. What I did here is I had to change a little bit the shape of the inside of this clamp because the welding is getting close. The second easiest thing is this long pipe here. It has been a commercially available subframe for the Airheads, and it is mounting on the front engine bolt, the rear engine bolt, and here very close to the bearing of the rear swing. Very simple. What I did with this, which is maybe not standard, that I put the rear engine bolt to the front. It's a little bit longer, and typically you would have here the footpeg, your right driver's footpeg, right? It would be here, and I found it to be very tight fit here, and I didn't like how my foot will fit on it because the subframe would go partly over the footpeg. So I made a longer engine bolt, have here a filler ring which takes up the same space as the footpeg usually would, and mounted the footpeg on the outside, with the consequence that also the brake pedal had to come a bit outside, which was surprisingly easy because where it's hinged here under the frame, it is just a very thin metal bushing that is welded to the frame. It's simple steel, so careful bending here will turn that away. Be sure that you don't change the vertical position too much, or you may have to correct also a vertical bend, like in, let's see if I can get it in this direction, so up down here, to make sure that your brake light switch is fitted correctly. That's that. Then comes the special part. I have seen a lot of pictures of bikes where they use this point as the rear mounting point, and then you will have a bolt going from here to the other side where there's also a hole. What that means is that you would need to open up this side panel, and I didn't want to do that because I want to ride this bike also solo, without sidecar, and as original as possible. So I didn't want to open up that. I've seen also connections made here, a hole inside here, or maybe an added plate. Yeah, maybe, but if you check what is happening here, this is the bolted on subframe. This is not the strongest point at all, and lateral forces from your rear wheel will go all to the swing arm bearing. The shocks will not give you any lateral forces, so whatever happens here, it isn't strong in the left-right direction. It's strong only upside down. As you can see, there's no cross members here, whereas up-down direction there's a strict triangle. This is a strong construction. So the function of this, the whole subframe under the body seat, is only for vertical forces. The horizontal forces are here, And so this point, your rear higher point for the sidecar connection, should not be here in the back, because that's a weak point. It should be on the main frame, which is this pipe, which comes back here, and here it connects to the mother pipe going straight to your steering, where is the second lateral force. So I wanted this to be close enough. Most people will use this, which is quite okay, but the problem is, if you use this point and you want to have connection to the other side to strengthen the frame so that you have left and right connected, then you will have a bolt here which is on top of your battery, hard to get the battery off, and you couldn't fit the toolbox anymore. So what I did is analog to what, for instance, I've seen in the UK. There are some frames that have a vertical bar going from here to there, so in front of all of this, and then it has even a small bracing. I think this is like a 25mm pipe. Yeah, a 25mm pipe with 1, 2, 3 bends in this direction, and I think 1 bend here. So from here it goes first very strong inside. There's only 1 centimeter between the rubbers and the pipe here, and then it bends a little bit forward, and that's how I got it to be behind all of this. And I welded it to a bought clamp here, and with the clamp came also the eye. That was also from a scrapyard. Then on the other side I made the clamp myself. I had to turn the bolts so that they are inside, and here's threaded holes in the pipe, otherwise the bolts would interfere with the seat. The bolt heads would be just too big, but simply the pipe will just fit inside here. I had to take out the rubbers here, so actually the whole body set is now resting on these things instead of the little rubber pads. And then what was the most difficult thing is to mount this thing. So you will have your braces, your diagonal lateral braces to the sidecar on this, from here to there. And I bought an extra one, or actually this was an old one from the sidecar that I had. So this is the old Russian, and shortened it to mount it here, just in front of the battery, on the same height as the battery. I think the rubber here for the battery holder, so there, where's my finger, below, that one, is 1 centimeter longer than the standard. So the battery is a little bit more backwards bent. And then I could fit this in between here. And again, the bended pipe is directly welded to the clamp. So you have to fit this, that your bike is there where you're welding, and make sure you protect everything with, I had a piece of thin aluminium sheet, like 0.5 millimeter aluminium, that I bended everywhere in order to protect the engine and other pieces, and I think the tank was off. So you have to fit this in place. And the same goes here. Here I have also a clamp that I bought, I think, in Germany. So there's an eye with a large long bolt, inside some thread. Actually the bolt became a little bit too short, so it's not using all of the thread, but it will do. It only needs to take lateral forces, and it is torqued very well, so it will do. So this is my self-made clamp and a bought clamp that I welded together into one piece that is, again, exactly fits the direction. That's how I fitted all the subframes parts, and the solution means that I can use the original toolbox. I have a 4-point connection, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is here interconnected left and right frame. Here this bolt interconnects left and right. This is very close to the cross member below the battery, so that's also a strong point, left and right. And here I have a connection left and right. The forces are not only lateral here. If there's a force here and it wants to bend this pipe, let's say in a left turn, it will want to push this to the left, because you're pushing against the sidecar then. What will happen actually is also that this thing wants to bend. So the little cross member here, this bracing bar that I shortened going there, is not only trying to push left but also trying to turn down, as this is trying to turn like left and this is going to turn down. So I'm quite confident this will definitely add to the rigidity of the whole thing. So in short, commercially available, but you could also make it yourself out of, I think it's 36 millimeter thick wall steel pipe. A front piece, a rear piece, mounted to the both of the engine bolts. Here you can use a longer engine bolt, or you could also simply have here a second mounting piece, so you would have a separate hole for your footpeg, probably more to the back than to the front, whatever you prefer. Then this is the hard part to make it exactly fit with your clamp. You first have to fit the clamp so that it has exactly the right corner in order to close the body seat, in order to have space for a tool when mounting the bolt through without scratching your tank. And when this clamp is okay, then you can start fitting this pipe in between. When that pipe is done, you take the second clamp on the other side, the same thing, make sure everything fits, that it fits with the panel, that it fits under the body seat, things like that. And then it's a lot of work, welding and doing stuff in order to get this clamp done. And this clamp I bought in Germany, I think it was about 50 euros, and it was a little bit pain in order to start to cut it up immediately as I got it, but I'm quite satisfied with the solution. And then what is changed to the bike is these longer rubbers for the battery mount. That is practically the only actual change to the bike. Okay, this lateral brace also meant I have to reroute the battery wires. So here there's a longer piece in between to get it a bit to the outside, and here I have the plus wired over the top instead of straight forward